Good morning. I am higher vibrations and so are you. And there have been so many different experiences. Excuse me, I just took a drink of tea and I drank it too quickly. Um the past couple of days have been a lot more intense than they have been, and that then it subsided like surprisingly um oh, I can't remember anymore. I forgot. What time was that? Like around 8 or 9 p.m. Central Standard, and it just went and just calmed down. I did look afterward to see what had been going on, and there and in we did have a KP index of 2, I believe. I have to go back to it real quick and look. Um, uh, KP index 4 at that was about 5:30 p.m. last night, but then there was another one this morning at 6 a.m. That was a big spike. That was a 3.667. There's a lot of different energy coming in, a lot of solar activity that's just happened. Um, that impact that of that solar flare that we just got, that CME that just happened, is expected to make impact on the planet, physically make impact on the planet between the 17th and the 18th, for the northern hemisphere, and that would be the 18th and the 19th for the southern hemisphere. There's a lot that's in play with that, along with a lot of different things. Like today, hooray, Mercury leaves retrograde. And so a lot of people feeling that unsteady stuff because Mars was in retrograde along with Mercury at the same time. There was this internal battle going on and all of that stuff too. Um, anyway, so there's just been a lot of different stuff about that. So we're noticing this calming that's happening. However, leading up to it, I can say that it's still, though, I'm having this profound thirst and tiredness. Like my exhaustion level is like off the charts again, even though that was like woohoo last night. I didn't really want to get out of bed this morning. I found that, I mean, it's not like I'm just really tired, and finding that I'm super duper thirsty, waking up with weird things going on. We had the Geminid meteor shower last night. If you can, I think that you'll probably still be able to catch some of it. I'm pretty sure that it's just not nearly as intense or as many as there were last night. If you want to check that out tonight, it's best after midnight when the sky is like more, dark. It's difficult because we have the full moon, even though the moon isn't full officially any longer, the clothed moon, it still is, very bright and almost full. And so you don't see it as great as you did maybe last year. This one's a really cool one because it's multiple colors. So let's talk about the Ascension Symptoms before I get into people's questions. I see there's a lot of people here. Hello, welcome everybody. Um, so the dizziness stuff is, I don't know how to else a better word. And every time I say that, and I still haven't discovered a better one, but just like you feel swirly, like inside. You're just like, whoa. There's been a lot more of that lately than I had before. Um, and not consistently, not all the time. It doesn't feel unpleasant. It's actually kind of a euphoric sensation. It's just simply, when you're doing stuff, it's like, wow, what is that? This area of the body, the head, I mean, there's a lot of like headaches. So we go from here to here to here. Some people will notice it like a band. It's like a band, either on one side of the head or the other. Typically, it's not both, but sometimes it will be. A lot of crown chakra activation happening. So there's a lot of people talking about crown. Me in particular, I'm finding a lot still of this pineal gland, third eye kind of stuff. There's a shooting sensation that's going through the head that starts like right there and just goes and like out, kind of like, I'll use this color pencil, kind of like this direction, like out in this way. It's kind of a bizarre, it feels like energy is flowing through and out. Um, There's been some lower back stuff lately. A lot of people have been reporting this, not only me. This, and it's not like I've done anything that's out of the ordinary for me. It's, because you talk about, doing a little extra something and then you get your back is sore for a little while. I've not done something out of the ordinary like that. Um, and this lower back stuff, as well as the left side of the body all the way down. I was having the right foot activation stuff going on, but that's subsided so far. Um, this shift that we just made, that I was in session last night, and this channeled message came through talking about this, how we just made it through a hurdle. And the visual they gave me was like walking through sand near the shore, but the sand was very not so sandy, I guess, because it was nearly like quicksand, and we were really sinking in, up to like above the ankles and tripping and stuff. And that suction where you're trying to pull your foot back out again and stuff, the arduous nature of this motion. And then all of a sudden, the waters cleared. The waters cleared and the skies became bright and blue again. And this is where we're moving into now. We've made it. It was a celebration energy that came in, saying, good job, congratulating, and you made it. You made it to the other side. And just as we're doing that, a lot of us understand there have been a lot more. I don't, I think they're calling them UFP or something, whatever. They're UFOs. There are more UFOs, more vessels being reported all over the place, but in particular on the East Coast. I've been hearing a lot about this New Jersey stuff. Um, these things that people are showing, they're plasma. This is how I've seen it before too. Um, they look like plasma. I find that some of these vessels are actually uh, not really a vessel at all. It's someone's Merkaba, and that's how they travel. That's not how an individual probably will travel across great distances, but it's like a one-man vehicle kind of thing, right? Coming from the mothership. What I mean by that. But anyway, it's beautiful, and I don't feel any kind of concern, energy, any, oh no. They're here. They've been here a while though. It's not like it's a new thing. It's just that we're now able to see them. We've been vibrating at this level here. Okay, so this is like, and it's not a bad level to vibrate at. This is a good place to vibrate. It's just that that's not where we are anymore. And as we've slowly started to vibrate higher up, we're now able to perceive what's at this higher level. Now, remembering when something vibrates up here, and we're not raising our consciousness, we're not ascending this way. We're going like this, right? We're that's just how it works. And so things come in and out of perceptibility. You're able to see it because of you're raising your vibration to match that vibration. And so there's a lot of this eye report stuff. My eyes are out of focus. People are saying, they're talking about a lot of stuff to do with the eyes. I had the same experience, and I went to an eye doctor thinking, okay, maybe I just need glasses these days. I don't have a prescription lens of any kind. And they had said they were kind of annoyed with me, saying that my eyes were better than before. And then I got the download and understanding that what's happening is just what I explained, is that things are coming in and out of focus that aren't seen by others. They're being seen by many, but not everyone. And also not by me until that moment. Until that moment when I raised my frequency, my vibration level up to the level of that the other thing was vibrating at. And so there's a lot of this going on. And so therefore we're seeing a lot of these individuals who are in these Merkabas. They're in these plasma vessels above us, and it's pretty cool. I heard this was a question that was posed on Friday, and I hadn't actually heard anything about it, but I don't watch the news in any way. I still have no desire to. It's one of those things too. If I tell like a normie or a muggle, like I've somebody who's still really invested in the 3D world, they'll say something about like the news, and I'll say, oh, I don't watch that. As a as a clue. I'm not interested. We can move on now. And instead, they'll panic shout all of the updates they can possibly come up with. I'll find that also in these Zoom meetings sometimes, and I'm very put off by it. If I were in real life and not in those Zoom meetings, I would turn it off and walk across the street like I do in real life. I'm not interested in the news at all. I don't want to know. However, sometimes it's kind of fun to discover when some of these things are happening. I don't care about the political stage or any of that stuff. However, check this out. There are a lot of vessels that are floating, hovering, participating with us, above us, and they've been there a long time. The higher up you go, meaning the farther out into space you go, you can do this in remote viewing, you can do this in astral. The more that you'll see that there are larger and larger uh, bodies, vessels. I'm not sure how this works exactly. I do know that it happens and that they're there. I also get the feeling that it feels like they're kind of like in audience, like more than anything. They're just all really excited to be here. They want to see this now moment that we're doing finally, kind of the thing. So anyway, there's no reason to be alarmed. It's really neat. Um, I'm fascinated that that people are seeing them first above the East Coast. Remember, this is part of the Hopi prophecy that we talked about, I don't know, a few months ago now, that came up, and that was the person that's coming from the east, bearing the red cape or the red hat, that's coming to assist in the awakening and the ascension experience of the whole. In the tribe, the rainbow warrior story. We are the rainbow tribe. The rainbow tribe are a massive group of individuals who come from all walks of life, all colors, all creeds, all beliefs, any background, age. It does not matter. It's that we once again journey into the heart to go back to the place of love and honoring the earth that we live on instead of exploiting her, and sharing in community and in love. Community means communication in unity. And as we share in this way, communication and unity, we are in celebration always, at all times. We are in celebration, we are in joy. What is common about this part of the story is that everyone seems to pick up a planting stick. This is a symbol of the times. A planting stick and a bag of seeds is because instead of reaping only, we also sow. Instead of only harvesting, we also plant. And this is a time to do it. This is the now moment that we're in. All of us, as one, collectively, we gather together. Together is to gather, right? And so as we gather together in this lovely unified way, we find one another again, our soul tribes. And this is something that we've always known was going to occur. What's cool about this, though, the end of the prophecy is that after the man or the person from the east comes with the red cape or the red hat, then the sun shall weep into the other ocean and Mu shall rise again. Mu is Lemuria. People call it Lemuria sometimes because they found lemurs there. And so they decided that was what they wanted to call it instead, to kind of do a smear campaign against it. We're in this now moment now, guys. We're actually here. You can see it all around you. And these conversations that we've had over the past few years is now coming true. It's coming into fruition. If you go back and look at any of these conversations I've had, and not just me, though I looked today's not the 412th video that I've done on YouTube, and that's not that many. But in that collection, we've talked about this time and time again. And some of the things that we talked about a year ago, 2 years ago, are happening now. We always seem to look forward. And so anyway, I got on a little bit of a tangent there. I should probably address you guys. Hello, everybody. In the chat, I see that Vegan Vixen. Oh, Deborah Taylor was first. Deborah, you're first. I know that's important, so I always want to try to go back and look. I don't see the comments that Vegan Vixen had made are in this, so I'm going to go really quickly just to address you, Vegan Vixen. Um, um, let's see. Oh, and there's Carmen. Carmen's in the audience too. I had a virus from hell. She says sick hallucinations and dizzy. I've had to sort out a house, move as well as I have to be out of the house on Wednesday. I'm drained and exhausted. I'm off to bed. Well, Vegan Vixen, sending you love. I hope that you get to listen to this and hear that we're all sending you love and support. Um, there's a lot of shifting going on right now, and some people who are kind of not wanting to relinquish, to let go of, to move away from some of their physical belongings that are kind of holding them down. um, we're having outside events come in and reminding us to do it. So it's just something that's happening across the board, though. It's fascinating. Anyway, sending you love and happy trails to you in your move. Chef Deb, hey Mila, good to see you, Chef Deb. Problems with the right knee? Anyone else? All right, that's another consistency. I had brought up, I was having it on the right foot, though. This is consistent across the board for a lot of people's reports. Um, Left or right. If you look at energetically speaking, if you look at the body and how it works, the left side is, and I've heard that some people take into consideration the opposite. Whatever resonates with you, I suppose. I'm sure we're all not exactly the same. However, for me, the divine feminine is the left side and the divine masculine is the right. So if there's stuff going on with the right knee, then that has to do with the right, or the divine masculine. Um, the knee stuff, when it comes in, it has to do with how an old, sometimes past incarnation stuff regarding giving your power to someone else, bending at the knee, right? Giving your power to someone else, and it's taking your power back. Um, Pardon me. You can also look up areas of your body online. Um, what does the knee? What emotion does the knee embody? Or something like that. And then it'll tell you. It's really interesting. Like the acupuncturists have known this for a very long time, and they had their databases readily available for us. So it's really interesting. So that's my answer typically when I get that the knee stuff. A lot of people are having I've noticed that in meditation too. They when I do in meditations, it's channeled, and the people whoever's channeling through me, um there's a couple different groups that come in. It's come up a bunch of times where it's like the hips, the knees, the ankles, and the feet. Sometimes it's the shoulders, the elbows, and the wrists. And sometimes, it's all of them. It depends on the person and the level of density. How to resolve this? Well, of course, looking into the emotional body and allowing yourself to release that emotional body, healing that trauma. Though something else that's very useful and just in the moment, kind of a spiritual pain reliever, is when you're having those experiences, go into a place of meditation and allow your heart center to expand the love light that comes out of this heart center coming down from God, and send specifically that love light energies to this joint area. This happens really often. It's super common for people to have. It's just like when you're smudging your house. Like think about like when you're using sound bowls or sage or what sweetgrass, whatever it is you use to clear the energy. You'll notice that it hangs out in the corners the most, right? And so the same is true for our bodies. Um, in this case, we'll notice specifically the joints has the most. We'll also have a lot of spine stuff all the way up the spine. Each vertebrae is another joint. There's a lot, and things kind of get not stuck, but just stalled there, kind of like a sink, the pipes in the sink, where it has like this bend. At the bend, that's where stuff will kind of collect. Same thing for our bodies. So if we send the light energy there, then it just pushes it out and kind of puts it back in the flow to then be dispersed more properly and allow you to ex- expel what's not assisting you. So that really does help, though. For anyone who is interested, I know I say it a lot, but I just wanted to remind everybody that there is a Telegram group that's free. And it's in the link for that is in the description of this video. Here in that Telegram group, I post weekly, at the very least, sometimes more than once a week, guided meditations in audio, and they're free. You can go and check them out. It'll help you out. And the one we just recently did for the 1212, hey, it's 222, for the 1212 portal was in it especially profound. I was taken aback by that. I'm excited to find out what we come up with tonight. I get with a group of people who are paying subscribers. It's $50 a month to be a part of this group. And then we do weekly meditation groups. Um, and tonight, I do it on Sundays, which is today. So you'll notice another one coming out tonight after we're done with that. I always record the audio of it and post it afterwards. So, and I always put the intention out that it be something that can be a timeless meditation, meaning it can be done more than once. And there is always an answer about how often you can do it. Sometimes they're like, hey, dude, this is one you should probably only do once a week, and sometimes they're like, hey, do this one as much as you want. So, pardon me. Hey, Ralph from Scotland, good to see you. Mariette, yes, my knee hurts sometimes suddenly, and dizziness is heavy. Yeah, definitely. A lot of dizziness going on. Um, and the knee stuff, it depends on what side. Being aware of what side it is on your body really does help. Divine feminine, divine masculine, it really does. Even if you don't know what that means, I've noticed just simply knowing it is half the battle. And then what is the divine, what is being feminine, what does being masculine mean, in its most balanced sense, not the distorted version that we'll typically see. Many of us have been, male or female, been living in the divine masculine energy and thinking that that's what we were doing, where it was the distorted divine masculine. It wasn't even truly divine masculine at all, and that's not to take away from anybody. I'm not calling anyone unmasculine. It's just that we were, it was a trauma response masculine instead, so um other people reporting that they have the same thing going on with the knee. So we have also right shoulder, um, prior injury resurfaced. So right shoulder, there's a lot of right side of the body things going on right now. I'm very fascinated. Interesting. I had a lot of left side stuff going on, and that's been resolved only recently. Then the right foot started to really activate. So it's really interesting. I'll have to keep it. I'll be paying more attention to that. Hello, Lavender Sky Panther. Hi, hugs all around. Good to see you. Yeah, thank you all for your comments regarding that. How about upper back, tower back, upper back? Yeah, I had that. So this area here exactly is something that I was just talking about. I think it was either my last show or I don't even know what had happened. I ended up going either live or doing a group every day for like 4 days, and so in a row, and so I kind of lost track of where I said something. However, this is the we're having a lot of wing activation. So yeah, upper back, high. I was noticing it mostly again on my left side. Everyone's different. Pardon me. Oh, I think she what's this? Tight lower back. Okay. Okay, tight lower back. I just see that now. So she's like, okay. Yeah, spell check. Ah, autocorrect. It's never duck. Right. Anyway, um uh uh yeah, okay. So well let's finish talking about upper back first. because yeah, lower back is something that I'm definitely experiencing too. Though the upper back stuff is something that a lot of people are having. This is the wing expression. And I know it sounds kind of silly to say that we have wings, but we really do. All of us do. We just do. And whether or not you can see them or feel them, they're there. They're really there. They're like appendages. Sometimes they're all like kind of like, folded down and kind of in, like this, where they're just not. Um, and sometimes when we move things in the room, it's actually our wings bumping into them and grabbing them and stuff. It's a thing. It's very fascinating. Anyway, we're noticing more and more that our wing energy is becoming more and more noticeable, and as a result, we're getting sensation that's uncomfortable, at least to a mild degree. Tightness feels almost like you've been walking around with a backpack around on your shoulder that's overweighted, and so there's a lot of this wing expression. And the solution for this is similar to what we talked about, is bringing the light, noticing the light of God moving through you and going into your center, being in this place of peace. And you don't have to be like a pro meditator to do this. Just, breathing in through your nose. And as you exhale through your mouth, you notice that this energy, it's right here in your heart center. I'm doing going higher up so you can see me. And as you breathe out, it kind of, and it grows bigger like a balloon. It's white light, usually gold and white, but it could be whatever color is correct for you. I'll start with white, gold and white typically, and sometimes it'll start to change. It'll marble, kind of like a swirly little bit of violet in there, a little bit of green, whatever needs to happen. Anyway, and then expanding that light to the area that is needing it most. And in this case, what we're talking about is through the wing. It's like you're blowing up like a balloon. You're blowing this light into the wing. That is the area of your upper back that's in discomfort. And it really helps it. Not only does it create a circulation of light, because what actually happens energetically, I see energy, and it's really cool, is it looks like it kind of goes out like this, and it's actually really far out here. Typically, a person's wing is double their height. So one wing, not their wingspan. Wingspan means both wings. And so your wingspan is 4 times your height standing, so um, this light will go through and through the outside tip of the wing, which is really far out, and then circles back in and again, and then does this figure 8 thing, and then goes out to the other one and comes back. And it creates this beautiful figure 8 that cross sections at your heart center. It's really pretty and really cool. There are typically 3 sets of these. And so you'll notice it in the corresponding areas of your back. The first set is typically right at just below the hump of the upper part of your spine, just between your shoulders kind of. And then the second one is there's a very small space, and then there's another set, and then so on and so forth. Everyone's different. We're all unique beings, and many of us come from many different realms and places. And so we have different energetic bodies in some ways. So, and then let's talk about the lower back. I did mention it earlier. I don't remember how deeply I went into it. This lower back activation, where it almost feels like it's like you're just, I don't know, your energy's being like uplifted there. It's almost like, yeah, it feels like out of body experience or astral projection in only that part of your body where you're just not energetically present in it. It's very bizarre. Yeah, darn spell check. So I'm glad that I think I addressed that before. If there's more to address, please let me know. Vertigo, yeah, there's a vertigo sensation along with this dizziness, disorientation, spatial space disorientation. What's the right way to say that? It's like we're not able to fully realize like where the gravity is, kind of thing. I'm totally understanding what you're talking about. Like, I think this is what I'm going along with too. Hello, Rose Matter. Good to see you. Yeah, a lot of this going on. It feels kind of euphoric though. Like, it doesn't feel like funky, this vertigo stuff. It feels like, ooh, that's kind of nice. I probably shouldn't be like, you know, running right now. Mariette says short memory loss and strange time slippage, dude. Drop the mic, right? So much going on with it. Drop the mic. I don't know why I said that. Short memory loss and strange time experience. So the time slippage is something really big, a really big deal that's been happening for a little while, but it's become much more pronounced. I've noticed this too. Like, I feel like I just got done saying, did we even have a November? And now it's already it's the 15th of December. We're halfway through December practically already. What? When did that happen? It's like we're Flash, right? That comic. Um, yeah, and I'm also noticing that there's a way there's ways to control it. You can't. I just don't know how exactly to do it on purpose, but there have been times where we've been driving and we just had said to each other that we would like to be our destination right now, knowing that it takes 20 minutes to drive there, and there wasn't a skip in the beat on the radio. There wasn't. I happened to have looked at the time on the clock, and the clock had only moved 1 minute, and we were already there. Like, how did we do that? It was pretty neat. And for a minute, it's like, wait, did I? Like, I felt disoriented because I'm like, wait, I know what everything's supposed to look like at this part of my driving experience. Um, and more than that too, the time experience. So this is actually something that Spirit doesn't typically ask me to look at the Bible. They don't usually guide me to look at the Bible, but in this instance they did. They told me to check out the book of Matthew, and it was an answer to the question regarding time and regarding the occurrences that were happening that are being reported. People are like, this is happening on the world stage, that's happening on the world stage, and it wasn't happening in my world. It just wasn't occurring. And it's like, well, is it what? The book of Matthew talks about this. I don't remember right off the top of my head what particular part of it, but it talks about the elect, the chosen ones. And remember, there's a plural there. Hey, it's 2, 3, 4. Keep going. There's a plural there. Most reports are trying to make everybody think that there's only one chosen one. We are the chosen ones. There are many of us. It's also called 144,000. It's also called the Rainbow Warriors, the Rainbow Tribe. There's a lot of different words that mean the same thing. And it said to spare the chosen ones, that time will speed up. It will speed up, and it's speeding up now. To spare us, because it would be difficult to do what we're doing if time was at its normal crawl. And it's fascinating to consider. We've always been told the older you get, the more that time speeds up. Well, then you start to wonder, well, that's a natural occurrence of ascension. So who's to say that we're not all equally speeding up? That the time of that, what time was like as a child was the same as it was for your parents, and that as time has sped up for everybody. I don't know. Anyway, a lot of that stuff going on. And short-term memory loss, I experience that pretty regularly. My 2 cents about this is that when your logic gets out of the way, some people call logic ego. It makes more sense for me to call it logic, because then I can understand it a little better. Logic isn't a bad thing. Ego isn't a bad thing. It's not. People talk about ego death and that should be like sent out into the nothingness. No, ego is something we use. It's an operating system that's useful for a computer. It's just that we don't need to rely so much on it. Anyway, when my logic has stepped aside enough for a true channeling experience, for the channeled message to truly come through in its more purest form, typically I won't have recollection like I will in normal situations. And channeling comes through so regularly now, it's almost like the finishing of each other's sentences kind of idea, where it's like half of what I'll say in any sentence isn't all the way me, and therefore I don't recall about half of what I said, let alone about half of, so it just depends. But I feel like a lot of the short-term memory loss has to do with us in channeling state. We're all channels. We are all connected directly to God through our heart center. That's how this heart center is, this heart flame, this light that glows brightly, that's teleported. It looks like it's teleported from God, an appendage of God. You're directly connected to God. The greatest lie that everyone seemed to buy of our time has been to tell people that there needs to be an intermediary to understand what God's saying, and what God is how to connect with God isn't done through another person. Yeah, other people can help that, but to rely solely on another individual to tell you what God is saying or not is a farce. It's untrue. You are a channel of God. We all are. It's just simply learning how to get out your own way. Get out of your own way, and to allow the message to come through enough to be able to fully hear it clear enough. So, Metaphysical Mike, it hurts to see my sister so worried about being poisoned based in a past life she remembers, and she is punishing herself on a subconscious level. Really sucks. I want to help everyone out of this pain. Yeah, I agree with you. People connecting to their past lives is a good thing. I see it as a good thing. Um, Only or mainly because they can discover why there is this rogue emotional experience that doesn't seem to fit anywhere. And it gives them a basis of where to heal this trauma, and therefore resolve their difficulty and allow themselves to release it enough to ascend in that moment. However, when we get so fixated on these events, when we so Archangel Michael says to judge something means to decide a thing about a thing, and when we judge something, we hold it in place. So, and we don't let it go. Deciding a thing about a thing isn't to say if it's good or bad. That is also judgment. But what's more is to say, is it blue or is it red? Is it hot or is it cold? There's a lot of different decidings that we do. And when we decide something about a thing, then we hold it in place and we don't allow its natural flow. All things are meant to be in flow. Things in stagnation, things being held in a single place, is where difficulty arises. And so allowing ourselves to find a means of letting it be released rather than fixating on it in this way will really help. I don't know how to teach someone to do that who's unwilling to relinquish it, though. And so I hear you, Metaphysical Mike. I empathize with you and your experience. I see this a lot. Until someone are in a position to be ready to let go of something, then there's not anything that you can say that's right. But when they are ready, there's really nothing that you can say that's wrong. So, and sometimes it isn't the people that are closest to us that can utilize our message. Often we'll find that the messages that find the ears of our loved ones are strangers to them. And I don't know why that is. Typically, the farmer, the planter of the seed, doesn't always get to see the plant grow. It's just how it works. It's I don't know. My guidance, if she were to be talking to me right now, would be to do inner child work, is a word people call it. Another one, depending on what group you're with, is shadow work. Shadow work is another one, and this shadow work is an integration of these shadow aspects or the inner children from all incarnations. It's interesting. We go into the sacral chakra space and we'll find that an individual have many voices of children in this space, and each one from a different walk of life. And as you look into it, you see that each of these children were an incarnation that this person had had, that they had fractaled their these parts of themselves. What is it that we do with creating the shadow self? How do we do that? Is that someone passes judgment, typically a family member, family meaning parents, siblings, teachers, peers. We'll have individuals who will say, "What do you do that?" Kind of judgment stuff or whatever. And then we'll assess it and decide that that thing is undesirable. So we need to stop being that way. And we need to shove that down and away from us. And that still remains an echo. It's still part of us. It's just now locked away in some unforgotten place because we don't forget. And then after some time, our unbalanced self notices. It begins to notice something missing. And then as we look deeper into it, then we can actually find ourselves, our little child. It typically is a child who's hidden within us. And they're usually scorned. There's usually a neglected child element to them. They're shy. They're, reluctant to interact. A lot of different things like that. But these guided meditations that we've done, there's been a couple of them, a handful, quite a few of them, where we have addressed this specifically. And so, I mean, I don't know if you have Telegram, Metaphysical Mike, but if you and your sister's willing to, is open to doing any kind of meditation, there's a couple in there, and they're called like inner child work kind of meditations. I don't think I call them shadow work. I think I call them inner child because that's more understandable by a larger collective. That begins to address a lot. So, hello, Linda. I'm glad you're able to catch us live. Good to see you. Let's see. I saw a question. Shadows in the corner. Yeah, a lot of people are still seeing more. So seeing, like I was talking about. Oh, this is probably from forever ago, huh? Look like I'm really behind. Oh my gosh, I've been on for a lot longer than I thought. I thought we were still looking in the intro part. Yeah. Yeah. So seeing shadows. A lot of times we'll see shadow first. If you'll look at it, if you can actually look at it, most people can't at first, and it's okay if you can't. Most people will see it in their peripheral vision, like the corner of their eyes, like off to the side, and usually there's some kind of motion, like it's moving. If you can look at it with the front of your eyes, like look straight at it, typically it'll go away. That when we do that, it helps if you kind of like divert your eyes, bow. That's why we bow, is so we can see a thing. And this is also true when like these interdimensional beings have come in. I can't see them as well as if I'm looking directly at them. What I'll do is I'll just slightly divert my eyes and then I can see them. You can see them from here. It's weird, but anyway, just like same thing when you notice a star, you'll not be able to see it as soon as you look directly at it sometimes, but you'll notice where it is in the sky if you kind of like look away and see where it's at. Anyway, same concept. What I'm trying to say here is that shadows aren't always bad. A lot of times we'll see a shadow and it's actually a very good thing, of high frequency energy. I mean, it's very strange. So what we'll first see is a void where that individual energetic body stands, but we can't see them. So instead, there's like a void. It's like it's usually kind of a grayish palette. And then sometimes if you look at it well enough, you'll notice that there's this little silhouette, like very faint silhouette of light around the edges of them. You can see this the best because that's their aura, and their aura is the brightest part of them. You'll also notice that, so if you are in concern, Hey, we've been on for 44 minutes and 44 seconds. If you are in concern or you're concerned about what they might be, you can find out right away. Send love out to it. How you send love out to something is, so consider someone that you love very much. It's easy to come up with somebody, right? Um, and think about how it feels right before you say I love you. It's held right here in your higher heart space, right between your throat, and your heart. Pardon me. And as this I love you energy comes up, we send that out. And when it leaves your body, after you practice it enough, you'll notice after some time that you'll feel the I love you energy leaving the pores of your body like a multitude of tiny breaths of like a breath. And anyway, send out the I love you energy in the direction of the thing. If it is of love, it will answer back with love, amplified by quite a lot. If it is not of love, it will flee, for the shadow cannot stand before the light. It's really cool. So it works as a repellent for those that aren't in a high enough frequency that you want to keep in your experience, and it brings in even more. It's like a hello and a welcome. It's like a shaking of the hand when you share your love to the energy that comes in, and then they share even more back out to you. Oh my goodness, it is such a cool experience. Um, oh, not scary, cool. Okay, good. I see this. Not scary, pretty cool. Yeah, it's really neat. And Rose Matter's saying she sees the same things. Yeah. Um, we also got so indigestion is typically someone's body asking them to reconsider their food intake, that what their body actually wants to eat, wants to have in it. And what's more than that, it has also to do with a purge that's happening across the board. A lot of people are having this. Um, we won't always know this until it's time to do something about it, right? So it's not something to be scared about. But as it turns out, our bodies are completely riddled with parasites, all of us. I mean, pardon me, excuse me. Mucus stuff going on, which is part of the parasites, by the way. I know I told you guys something gross about that last week. I'm not going to bring it up again, but is that for many, 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 many years, for generations upon generations, we've known to purge the parasites from our bodies. Our grandma, our mom, usually it was a thick, uh, uh, dog-eared book that was kept in the kitchen counter area. Along with the recipe books, she would have this thick browned or yellowed book that was full of all these things that you would do to purge your body of parasites. And it was an encyclopedia of things like that. And then they did the book burnings. They did the book burnings and they got rid of those things. They said any natural doctor they called a quack and chased out of town, ostracized them, until they were able to enlist only pharmaceuticals so the big pharma could win. That was only that happened in some of us that are here in this conversations now's lifetime. It's only been one generation, really. One lifetime, I mean, has it been since that's happened. So there's a lot of things that we can do. Wormwood, black walnut, whole cloves. These are ways you can do parasite cleansing. Let's see. Grapefruit seed oil is another thing that you can use. There's a lot of different things. Apple cider vinegar on a daily basis will help. That's a natural antibiotic, and it'll also send out these different parasitical energies that are not in alignment with us. I'm not saying that all parasites are bad either. Just like all implants aren't bad. Some of them are actually here to help us. But most of them these days, especially those of us who were raised on processed food, we have a lot more parasites in our body than our bodies are happy with. And so there's a lot of stuff that's trying to get out, and for our body that our bodies want to get rid of. So that's something that we can just keep in mind and consider. There's a lot more than what I had mentioned as natural solutions to um, purging of parasites. Those are just some of them. So just keeping that in mind. I'm sure that since I've started talking about this, there are probably more talk that have mentioned different things. Um, I noticed that, so I used to have indigestion really bad. And then I stopped eating the foods my body was asking me not to eat anymore. I do the lean test. I do the touch test also. So like if I take an ingredient, that's why I cook. Well, that's one of the reasons that I just cook the food that we eat. Pardon me, I've just got these burps. Um, is I know each ingredient where it comes from and all that kind of stuff. But and also when I touch the ingredient, my body will tell me yes or no. Like my body's like, sometimes it'll, you know how it sounds good, but then when you like really consider eating the thing, it's like, oh, that doesn't actually sound good at all. And you don't know why, because there's ingredients inside of that that isn't in alignment with something that you need. So touching it, that's why a lot of cultures uh, have been given forks and spoons and knives and things that they don't with food they don't actually need it for, is to keep distance between you and your food until it's too late. By the time it's in your body, then you really can't do much about it, you know? So, anyway, and then you'll notice to omit certain ingredients. I'll start to feel like kind of sick to my stomach. And when I'm going to include an ingredient that isn't in line with my body or something my body needs. Sometimes it'll look like a microscopic earthquake behind my eyes. My eyes will kind of like just like shake a tiny bit for a second. Um, Sometimes we'll do the lean test, which is you'll be in front of the ingredient and your body will lean toward it if it's something that it wants, and it leans away from it if it doesn't want it. These are just different things that we can consider, you know. So I hope that I addressed your question. One of the things that I do regularly is eating raw onion. And it's fascinating how many people say that they are allergic to raw onions because it makes them go to the bathroom. Well, it makes me go to the bathroom too when my body is full of things that are toxins or not good for me. Good to see you, Joyce. Is that um, I'll find that if I have a lot of toxins in my body, this is a sponge, raw onion, and it'll absorb all the crap that's not good for us. And then when um, I pull in all of those toxins, as soon as it's full, it immediately runs down into the bathroom, right? It leaves my body quickly, abruptly. So this is one thing that you can do. So um, and Chef Deb has a question. I think she's asking opinions from people in the audience. Um, uh, is not just keeping my peace. Um, I find so. Can I ask opinions? If I decided to withdraw from family about 2 years ago, bad juju there. Is that not just keeping my peace? I feel like a lot of people are doing this. Some people, not everybody. Just because you're in the spiritual awakening experience doesn't mean that you're going to say goodbye to your family. But I'm finding that to be very true. That's been true for me throughout my life, as I've, kind of, we all awaken like this, right? We have our thing, and we're still going up. It's just, and there's been a variety of different times that I've said goodbye to the entire family, and then, whatever, and kind of going back and forth. There are a few members of my family that I really enjoy, but it seems that it just doesn't always work out, timing wise. Um, I can say though that if I need to consider my energy and where I'm giving that energy to. Is it being taken from me? Is the energy being shared and given back? You know, if I'm being drained of energy, it's kind of like a vampiric energetic space, or I can think of a few of my family members too that I just won't engage with at all because of that. Like you just feel like you're trying to fill up an empty well, and by the end of an 18-hour day, they're good for the night. and you're just completely done. Like you're completely kaput. And then the next day they want more, and it's just like, I can't. Um, and a lot of individuals will try to convince you that you're not sane because they want someone else to be in their camp or whatever, their team. And there's a lot of different reasons. A lot of, if you don't feel comfortable, if you feel like there's bad juju there in any group, what I say about that is to pull away. To pull away. If you can make it happen. And I'm not giving any suggestions or advice. This is just what I've done and what I will consistently do. If someone is not in harmony and someone doesn't make me feel great, if I feel worse than I did when I went into a situation, I stop going to those situations. It's not selfish for me to not sacrifice myself. Like there are spiritual people in the spiritual community that are content creators that I won't even, I don't ever unsubscribe from people. Like I'm not that person. It's like, well, I'll stay a subscriber just because that's not unkind. I feel like that's a kind thing to do. But there have been a few people over the past 6 or so that I've unsubscribed from just because I don't want that energy coming into my YouTube feed, even though I don't have notifications. You know what I mean? So just pull away if it's not in alignment with you. The end. We are definitely at a line in the sand place right now where we are shifting into another higher frequency place. And as we do that, we'll find that if we don't let go of the stones, we will be dragging at the bottom of the river rather than floating. And so we're meant to relinquish these stones, to leave them on the shore. They're not going to help us. They're not serving us. And we're not serving them. That's part of the main thing about your dark night of the soul's experiences is that we'll find is that we'll shed relationships. And it's sad because we've been working so hard at keeping them. We think that we need to keep them. It's something that we invest time and energy and resources into keeping. But at what cost? It's not helping them and it's not helping you. So dark night of the soul, we finally shed these relationships, the ones that are dead weight, the stones. And we're their stones. We're also keeping them back. So anyway, that was semi-channeled, but this is the Truman Show, dude. Right. This is anyone who hasn't seen the Truman Show, I strongly encourage that you check it out. It describes very much a lot of what we've been doing here. It's very fascinating. Hello, Vera. Vera says, hello, fam of love and ascension. Almost went to emergency room Wednesday night with severe liver gallbladder pains. I called my neighbor who was a doctor. He came up to check on me and did spontaneous Reiki. Oh, cool, dude. That is so awesome. Reiki will help with more things than most people realize, dude. It's so awesome. I'm really happy to hear that a doctor, because that's really good. A lot of times these days anyway, doctors don't always, they're so invested. They don't have time. I don't judge them for it. They are taught in a way that they have to just regurgitate information and they don't really aren't given time to consider things. And for him to include Reiki in his sheath of his toolbox, that's really awesome. And actually, liver and gallbladder stuff is a big deal right now. This is the fear and relationship, anger, this type of stuff that is largely unresolved. We're taught not to express our anger starting at a young age. We would get punished. We would get punished for not having or for being upset, right? Go to your room, uh, kind of stuff all the time, right? And so just keeping that in mind, we're now learning to let go of this anger, to release this anger, so um oh wow. Thank you, Mitchell, very much. 333. I like how it shows up on this screen as 333 333. And I just said that, and I've been on for an hour and 3 minutes or 3 seconds. That's real, and it's 301. I was delayed coming on today, so it was perfect timing. Thank you so much, Mitchell. I really appreciate your donation. It really helps a lot. Um, a lot. Yes, can't get enough water. Yeah, dude, it's so crazy. And let yourself drink as much water as you can. Clean water. Um, Also, I'm finding that it's really important to have a little bit of salt in our water. Not all water that we drink. I'll have a small bottle of water that doesn't have a lot of water in it really, and with a little bit of salt, and I'll take a swig of that, swig, and like then I'll drink clean water, you know, and it really helps it hydrates you even faster. I'm grateful to meet all beautiful souls on this planet. It's good to see you, Master Light. I'm glad that you joined us today. I got behind quite a lot on my comments here. I'm gonna try to catch up on some of you guys, but I have to wrap it up semi soon. Short-term memory loss. Dory, always Nemo. That's right, Elsa. Good to see you, Elsa. Just keep swimming. Yeah. Um, I actually had forgotten that part of that movie. That's really fun. Uh, this is interesting. I had NASA's. I'm sorry. I hope I'm saying it right. NASA's. The man with the red hat is Trump, because that is a hat that he wears, right? It's very interesting. You know. Um, I think spirit isolates us to become closer to them. I totally agree. I agree, because when you have to reach out for something, then you get closer to it. The same is true for a lot of these unlockings that we're doing. We'll find that the gate was actually put there and the lock was actually locked by us, and that's why we have to unlock it, because we're the key master. That's where all those like sci-fi kind of references are, why they're planted where they are, right? So remember that. Laugh out loud. I was thinking, I wonder if Mila is doing a live today. And lo and behold, you are. It happens so often, I'm not even surprised anymore. That's so cool, Joshua. Well, I'm glad you were able to join us and find us live. Spin Being says, I already read. Yeah, just keep swimming. We can do this. That's right, Elsa. And yes, we are all channels. That's right. Every day, we just have to let it flow to enjoy a, re, a replesh, resplendent. That's a good word. I'm not sure if I've ever read that word out loud before. Isn't that funny how that happens? You're really good at reading stuff in your head. Existence, one that is great and beautiful, not only in the absence of fear or pain, but in the very presence. Thank you very much, Joshua. That was a very uplifting and beautiful comment. Let's see. So I see that I'm going to go back to your, we are all God's source expressed in a unique way. That's right. Oh, thank you very much, Master Light. You're right. And as this energy of God, an appendage of God, we'll realize that we're able to connect to this flow of information. So the questions that we may have are coming through us. Sometimes, usually, in fact, they sound like our own voice inside our head. You know, it sounds like you're just listening to your own narrative, and you're having a private conversation in the quietness of your mind, when it's actually a conference, with the many, with God. Mila, deep and streaming time lapse. So interesting, right? Yeah, dude, it's crazy. This time stuff is starting to how so As this is happening, what spirit really was talking about last night, and this one I just keep going back to. I need to go back and look at that recording again. It was a private session with someone, so I won't share it in its wholeness or anything. But this channeling was talking about for the collective. Actually, I took a note. That so right then, we just made it through a hurdle just now, and that was at 10:10 last night when I wrote that down. So I made a note of that time. That hurdle that we just crossed through, we shifted something really big. And just because they say we're not going to feel it, just because the KP index won't go up until the 17th for the northern hemisphere, the 18th in the southern hemisphere, does not mean that we didn't feel it when it came in. That huge energy shift that happened at that time was felt by us, and it was a grateful, joyful thing to have come in. Anyone totally depressed, Patriot Hero. A lot of stuff about this has been coming up just over the past couple of days. I kind of feel like, for the most part, and everybody takes different times. It's more gradual for some than others. Something changed last night. Late in the night into the next day. We had a big spike in the energy around 6 a.m. Central Time as a result of this. But something is coming in to bring us to a higher frequency, to the place of joy, to release us from these depths. Depression is for me, I stopped experiencing depression once I started to understand that emotion was a separate consciousness, that it was a someone, and that it was something that needed to move rather than be staying within me and stagnant, stuffing emotion and stuff like that. And as soon as I started to let it move through me, emotion, energy and motion, right? Emotion is something that's meant to go. How I was guided to do that. I believe in gravity. My belief in gravity is what we used anyway. So it was best to do laying down on my back. You can do whatever it is that's correct for you. This helped. I was a very depressed person. I was depressed all the time. I was always sad. I was, like I'm a whole different person from doing this trick. Okay. Spirit showed me this to do this, and I was just like reluctant, but I went in for it. Anyway, laying on my back, letting the emotion come in and visualizing this emotion as an energy. Assign it a color that helps. And then watch it go over you. So like this is from looking from an aerial view. You're looking at me now from above me because I'm laying on my back, right? The energy is coming down over me and like washing over and going back. So here is me laying down, the emotion coming through and through me. And then as it goes down, it digs like roots of a tree down into the ground. And you'll notice your own energy coming off like roots of a tree, your energy, the light that comes from God, right? That you are digging, but you're not like sending this all out. It's just like appendages. And you're digging these roots into the ground, and the soil itself actually exfoliates like this residue of sadness off of you, or whatever it is that you're feeling. And Gaia is grateful for it, by the way. This is like food, is how it feels to me when I've done it. She's been like, oh, good. Like it's like you're quenching some kind of thirst for her. Anyway, and to let it, to just accept it, to not resist it, leaning into it. It's the opposite of what I ever did before. I always recoiled from it. Why would you lean into something that feels icky, right? I mean, like, I'm not insane, am I? Anyway, then when we lean into it, then we agree to have it. And when we agree to have it, then it can go. It's that simple. It sounds so opposite of what we expect to be true. As soon as I started to do this, chronic depression girl here, man. Like, I mean, I had my whole life. I'm gonna be honest. I attempted to leave this earthly plane on purpose at least 7 times, and I thought it through. I had a plan. I've worked everything out, made sure people were out of town so no one would stop me, and I didn't go anywhere. But I was having difficult time all the time, and then I started to do this I just described. That's all I did. That's the only thing I did different, was I let the emotion be. I let it come in. And you know what? When you accept the emotion, when you lean into the emotion, not only does it make it so it can be released quickly, but it's a euphoric experience. It actually feels really good, weirdly good. And weirdly, because we're not taught that. We haven't taught ourselves that over the years. So anyway, Patriot here, I hope that helped you. And for anyone else who are experiencing any of this difficulty at this time, um, it's really, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to not want to be here. I know what it's like to, uh, be struggling and wishing for a different way, and all we got to do is just allow yourself to lean into it and to stop fighting it. As soon as we stop fighting, we find that what we've been doing is the opposite of fighting. What we think is fighting, like fighting for life kind of thing, right? We were instead fighting to keep the matrix in place. So I hope that helped. Crying helps a lot. That's right, Rose Matter. Crying and letting yourself release it. This when I talk to Spirit about crying, it's funny because they call it a technology, and many energies that come through in communication with me are actually kind of jealous. Jealous in not our 3D way of how we translate what jealousy is, but it's different, but it's the same anyway in some ways. um because but they envy our ability to cry. This releases all this energy, all different kinds of energy that they can't do so quickly, so easily. Laughing is another way to do it, but when you're in depression, laughing is like really hard to do, right? um If you can laugh, if you can cry, those are the two main things. And once you get to a place where you can do both of those, do them regularly. Like, this is medicine. We're not screwing around anymore. This is actually medicine, and not taking real medicine. We're not talking about medication, and if we're not doing this basic maintenance, once we're able to, we can lose the gift. We can lose the ability, and then we end up lopsided again, so um, forcing yourself to laugh at first, yeah, it feels forced. But then, if you're with or near, so around someone else, then they'll start laughing, even if they're laughing at you. You know what I mean? Because they're like, "What is she laughing about? I don't even know." And then they start laughing, and then you start laughing, and them laughing, and then we all start laughing for we don't even remember why we're laughing anymore. This is called laughing yoga. Um, and it's a whole thing. You can look it up online. There's been a bunch of studies done about it, where it increases circulation, longevity, just basic overall health is notably improved over a course of doing laughing yoga once a month, an hour for once a month for a series of months. All of a sudden, people who were in like cardiac distress, all different kinds of difficulty, when they started doing laughing yoga, they were better. They were healthier. And for a short time, even people who were really struggling with the size of their body, they were finding they were becoming more healthy. And it wasn't on purpose. Exactly. It's just a natural side effect to laughing, so, and crying, laughing and crying are very similar. They do have similar frequency. uh my favorite is if I could cry in joy. That's something I never understood before. And I've been able to do that. I've been doing that a lot over the past few years, and it's been really cool. It's been really neat. So anyway, I do need to get going. This has been so much fun connecting with all of you. So I had a cancellation this coming Wednesday. The individual who was going to join us is something happened. They will be coming and joining us next month. Guardian, he'll be able to join us next month, but something came up. So um, if I don't find somebody to fill that space by Wednesday, then I'll probably come on and do another Q&A like this one. Um, if not, I'll see you that day at the same time and place with somebody else. Anyway, um, leading into this next window, we're almost at the solstice, and so we're going to keep noticing this energy increasing. It's going to be getting more and more. Hey, Ellen, maybe I should reach out to you. That's right. Maybe if you're interested on Wednesday. Anyway, uh, uh, solstice is on Saturday, the 21st for everybody. Uh, wait, so it's the 22nd in the world of the Southern Hemisphere, but it's the 21st for us. On this particular day, we're going to be noticing a lot of increased energy. This is the day that the 12 days of Christmas, really, that story comes from, is starting in the Yule. So the 12 days of Yule, that's a whole thing. Um, but anyway, this particular day is the day that we observe what we call Christmas in this household. Um, and I do plan to do a group meditation that day. I haven't been able to find the best time to do it, though. I thought I did. And so I will just keep you updated when we come up with when we can do that, at what time we can do that, and I'll post that out for those of you who can join us. And if you can't, then you can always listen to it afterward in the recording. If you can join my meditation or someone else's or whatever, I strongly encourage that you do. The solstice window is a very powerful window of time. The energy that happens at that time is profound. And to not utilize the energy as it comes through is silly to me. You know, you might as well. It's there for you. It's being given to you as a gift. So making use of that time by taking a moment to just be in the quiet of yourself and to just be in love and an appreciation of everything, it really does help a lot. So um, I love you all. Thank you all so much for joining today, and I look forward to seeing you again in a couple of days on Wednesday. Sending you all so much love.